Imadaddin Nasimi, Alī Imādud-Dīn Nasīmī Azerbaijani, Seyid Əli İmadəddin Nəsimi, Seyid Əli İmadəddin Nəsimi, Persian Alī Nasimi, often known as Nesimi 1369–1417, was a 14th century Azerbaijani or Turkmen Ḥurūfī poet. Known mostly by his pen name of Nasimi, he wrote in Azerbaijani, Persian and sometimes Arabic, being the composer of one divan in Azerbaijani, one in Persian, and a number of poems in Arabic. He is considered one of the greatest Turkic mystical poets of the late 14th and early 15th centuries, and one of the most prominent early divan masters in Turkic literary history. According to the third edition of the Encyclopedia of Islam Nasimi is considered to be the true founder of Turkic classical Arab poetry. Name and titles. The third edition of the Encyclopedia of Islam notes that according to some sources, including Seyid ibn al-Ajami died 1415, Nasimi's given name was Ali. The name Nesimi was the pen name Makkah's he most commonly used. The Encyclopedia of Islam adds that, although contested, the name Nasimi is most convincingly explained as a reflection of Nami, the pen name of Fazl al-Astarabadi died 1394. Nasimi also used the pen name Husini. The epithet Laqab Imadaddin, which translates as the pillar of the religion, or the title Sayyid marking his claim of descent from the Islamic prophet Muhammad, are often added in order to distinguish him from other figures who bore the name Nasimi. Life. Most extant information about Nasimi's life is unconfirmed. This includes his date of birth, which, without definite proof, is usually said to be 1369–70. Nesimi's birthplace is wrapped in mystery. Some claim that he was born in a province called Nesim, hence the pen name, located either near Aleppo in modern-day Syria or near Baghdad in modern-day Iraq, but no such province has been found to exist. According to the second edition of the Encyclopedia of Islam, Nasimi was an early Ottoman poet and mystic, and was most probably of Turkoman origin. He was well versed in both Turkic and Persian, but wrote some poems in Arabic as well. From his poetry, it's evident that Nesimi was an adherent of the Ḥurūfī movement, which was founded by Nesimi's teacher Fazl al-Astarabadi of Astarabad, who was condemned for heresy and executed in Alanya near Nakhchivan. The center of Fazlulah's influence was Baku, and most of his followers came from Shirvan, present-day Republic of Azerbaijan, then ruled by the Shirvanshahs. Nesimi became one of the most influential advocates of the Ḥurūfī doctrine, and the movement's ideas were spread to a large extent through his poetry. While Fazlullah believed that he himself was the manifestation of God, for Nesimi, at the center of creation there was God, who bestowed his light on man. Through sacrifice and self-perfection, man can become one with God. Around 1417, or possibly 1404, as a direct result of his beliefs which were considered blasphemous by contemporary religious authorities, Nesimi was seized and, according to most accounts, skinned alive in Aleppo. A number of legends later grew up around Nesimi's execution, such as the story that he mocked his executioners with improvised verse and, after the execution, draped his flayed skin around his shoulders and departed. A rare historical account of the event, the Tariq Helab of Ahmad ibn Ibrahim al-Halabi, relates that the court, which was of the Maliki school of religious law, was unwilling to convict Nesimi of apostasy, and that the order of execution instead came from the secular power of the emir of Aleppo, who was hoping to avoid open rebellion. Nesimi's tomb in Aleppo remains an important place of pilgrimage to this day. Poetry. Legacy. Nesimi's work represents an important stage in the development of poetry not only in the Azerbaijani language vernacular, but also in the Ottoman divan poetry tradition. After his death, Nesimi's work continued to influence many Turkic language poets and authors such as Fuzuli 1483–1556, Kuti 1487–1524, and Pir Sultan Abdul 1480–1550. Nesimi is venerated in the modern Republic of Azerbaijan, and one of the districts of the capital city, Baku, bears his name. There is also a monument to him in the city sculpted by T. Mammadov and I. Zainalov in 1979. Furthermore, the Institute of Linguistics at the Academy of Sciences of Azerbaijan is named after him, and there was also a 1973 Azerbaijani film, Nasimi, the Azerbaijani language spelling of his name, made about him. The 600th anniversary of Nesimi's birthday was celebrated worldwide in 1973 by the decision of UNESCO, and representatives from many countries took part in the celebrations held both in Azerbaijan and in Moscow, Russia. An event dedicated to the 600th anniversary of Nasimi's death was conducted in Paris at the headquarters of UNESCO in May 2017. President Ilham Aliyev declared 2019 the year of Nasimi in Azerbaijan, as it was the 650th anniversary of the birth of the poet. The year was also declared the year of the Azerbaijani poet Imadaddin Nasimi by the International Organization of Turkic Culture at the 36th term meeting of its Permanent Council in December 2018. Translations: K.R.F. Burrill, The Quatrains of Nesimi, 14th Century Turkic Ḥurūfī, with annotated translation of the Turkic and Persian quatrains from the Hekimoglu Ali Pasha MS, Den Haag Mountain, Paris 1972, from the Turkish divan. Imadaddin Nasimi, Gedicht ed. M.R. Hess, with a poetic reworking by R. Mauritson, Sharkkarb, Baku 2012. Imadaddin Nasimi ins Absolut Schwand Ikhin, Mitgat bin Iksugat Juerden ed. M.R. Hess, with a poetic reworking by R. Mauritson, Sharkkarb, Baku 2012. Imadaddin Nasimi, Lyrish ed. Alda Mazina, translated from Russian, Sandro Teti Edazayani, Roma 2019. Persian divan. Nasimi di Shervin, nel tuo volto e scritta la parola di Dio. Il canzoniere persiano del poeta martire del Hurufismo ed. Carlo Saccone, Centro Esed Amazon IP Seattle 2020. Memory. Asteroid 32939 Nasimi was named in his memory. The official naming citation was published by the Minor Planets Center on 18 May 2019 M. PC 114954. The movie dedicated to the poet Nesimi by Azerbaijan Film Studio. The ballet dedicated to the poet A Tale of Nesimi by Azerbaijani composer Fikret Amirov. Various places are named in honor of Nasimi. The Nasimi Institute of Linguistics is part of the Azerbaijan National Academy of Sciences. Nesimi Rayon is an urban district rayon in Baku. A Baku metro station is named Nesimi. The urban middle school No. 2 in Balakan, Azerbaijan, is named for Nasimi. There are Nesimi streets in Agjabdi, Kudat, and Baku. There are villages named Nasimi in Bilasuvar and in Saburabad regions, as well as Nesimi in the Sotli region of Azerbaijan. The seaside park in Sumgate was named after Nasimi in 1978, and a statue of him was erected there in 2003. Nasimi Festival of Poetry, Arts and Spirituality was organized in September 2018 by the Heydar Aliyev Foundation and Ministry of Culture of Azerbaijan. The events featured different types of art and knowledge fields in Baku and Shamaki. In November 2018, the bust of Imadaddin Nasimi at the Moscow State Institute of International Relations was unveiled as a part of the Nasimi Festival. From September 28 to October 1, the second Nasimi Festival of Poetry, Art and Spirituality was held in Azerbaijan in the framework of the Year of Nasimi. The Nasimi's 652nd Summer Camp of Diaspora Youth of Azerbaijan was organized in Shamaki, dedicated to the poet's 650th anniversary in July 2019. Songs to Nasimi's poems. Istadamet composer Tawfik Giliyev. Kafel Oyan composer Tawfik Giliyev. Naynet D performed by Zaynab Komlarova. Nasimi performed by Sami Yusuf.